Mr. Mamakayev, we're on our way to the court. The judge will decide whether you will go into deportation detention or custody.
The process of repatriation faces several systemic challenges.
We have to take him back without handcuffs. He can't go in with handcuffs on.
We were pleased to get him today. Now he's basically free again.
Oh no.
Is that it?
That's annoying.
It's quite simple. It's madness, but we keep going anyway. Every now and then it works out.
Today, Doreen Rasper and her colleagues from Brandenburg's Foreigners Registration Office are looking for a man from Tunisia. A deportation flight is leaving Leipzig in 8 hours. He's meant to be on it. The team is supposed to arrest him and take him to the airport. He wasn't at the asylum seekers' shelter last night. Time is running out. They've gone to this drug dealer's hideout to search for him.
I think if there were people here, they'd be scattering by now. Any other ideas? No? Then let's go back. Are you going to follow us?
Yes.
So out of 10 planned measures, in at least 5 cases, the people weren't to be found. At least 5. I think there are very well-informed people in Germany who inform individuals that there are plans for their deportation, or that they're due to be deported.
The Central Foreigners Authority of the State of Brandenburg in northeastern Germany. Some 170 people here are employed to manage the affairs of asylum seekers, refugees, and migrants. Authority head Olaf Janssen has a dozen employees who deal with deportations.
Deportations are generally very time-consuming, expensive and difficult. There are basically 2 main factors that determine the deportation process: the relationship with the countries of origin and, of course, our own regulations. In other words, how difficult it is to carry out deportations due to these regulations.
The immigration office knows that we can take action. Everything has been clarified.
Up until spring of 2025, Jens Durschmann was responsible for all deportations from Brandenburg, the state that encircles Berlin. He was present in difficult cases. This case involves a repeat offender from Chechnya. His asylum application was rejected 2 years ago, and he's scheduled to leave the country on a deportation flight the day after tomorrow. In a bid to detain him, he's been summoned to the town hall at 8 a.m. on the pretense that his temporary residence permit is going to be extended. This is already the 2nd attempt.
Is that his?
Yes.
On his record, 64 criminal offenses and misdemeanors: assault, including with a sharp weapon, robbery, burglary, theft, drug dealing.
Mr. Mamakayev, do you understand German? A little? You know that you are meant to be deported. We're on our way to court. The judge will decide whether you will go into the deportation detention center or custody. Just so you know for now. Great. That's good. I wasn't expecting that. I saw him standing there. He was completely taken aback.
And that's usual? To be taken to court?
He will appear before the judge, who will decide on his future.
Where could that be?
Anywhere. Hof, Ingelheim, Dresden.
That means possibly all the way to Ingelheim, and then to be brought back again tomorrow or the day after tomorrow?
Berlin's airport.
Ingelheim is a 7-hour drive from here.
It's pretty common.
Because Brandenburg doesn't have the facilities?
Yes, we don't have a deportation detention center in Brandenburg. It always depends on who is in power. If they don't want one in the state, then there isn't one.
Sauer Mamakayev has 3 young children. His family resides in Frankfurt an der Oder. He's been involved in several criminal offenses in Berlin.
His legal history makes it likely that the judge will approve his detention pending deportation.
That's all the court is deciding on, not on the deportation itself. The police would then take him to a deportation detention center. A place has been arranged for him in Dresden. The personnel costs are enormous. Everything depends on the judge. The hearing is fixed for 11:30 a.m. and is not public. That's a 2.5-hour wait. Doreen Rasper and Jens Doschmann hope that Sauer Mamakayev will be remanded in custody pending deportation. His department prefers when people who are legally obliged to leave the country choose to go voluntarily without the need for handcuffs or detention. It's easier, less expensive, and involves less personnel. But it takes a lot of persuasion, they say. Like with Ruslan Takayev, also a repeat offender and a Chechen national. A member of a criminal gang, he caused considerable trouble in a rural district of Brandenburg.
Come and sit down here. There's a problem. I need to make that clear to you. I'll be completely honest with you. You are facing deportation. It is definitely planned for the next few months. I think it would be better if you considered, seriously considered, leaving voluntarily. You don't have to answer right away. Think about it. Thanks. Bye, Mr. Takayev. The question is no longer whether or not you will be deported. You will be deported. But as far as the conditions are concerned, it is up to you whether you make it easier for yourself by leaving voluntarily.
Anyone who leaves voluntarily travels unfettered, receives a cash stipend for back home, and can visit Germany as a tourist after a certain time. For criminals, the remainder of their prison sentence is suspended upon departure, meaning it is effectively waived. Today, Jens Doschmann is here to pick up a man from Syria who's in jail for aggravated assault. He's also been convicted for sexual coercion of a minor. Doschmann has been trying to arrange his voluntary departure for 3 years. He wants to take him to the Syrian embassy to get the relevant documents. But the prison warden insists the prisoner remains in the custody of the prison authorities for the trip to Berlin, in handcuffs. In 3 days, Mustafa Kurdi is supposed to return home. Everything is ready. He came to Germany in 2016 without a passport. He spent most of his time in detention. However, deportation to Syria was not possible. All that is required now for his voluntary departure is a travel document from the embassy.
It's real chaos there. Hello, Mr. Kurdi, how are you?
This was shortly after the overthrow of the Assad regime. The embassy is crowded. There's uncertainty about what will happen next, whether the embassy can still issue documents. The sight of a man in handcuffs and German officials in uniform provoke consternation. They're told they're not welcome and must leave the embassy immediately. Will he get his documents?
I don't know. We have to bring him back minus the handcuffs.
But the prison officers are not allowed to remove the prisoner's handcuffs, not even for a few minutes, not without the permission of their boss, and he refuses. The handcuffs stay on.
The decision was made by those responsible in the prison system not to remove the restraints. Our colleagues have to abide by this, otherwise they will face disciplinary proceedings. We don't want that. Basically, this means we now have to do everything we can to ensure we can come here tomorrow under the conditions specified by the Syrian embassy.
But that's in the hands of another authority, the public prosecutor's office. Another hurdle. But the biggest obstacle to repatriation, whether deportation or voluntary departure, lies abroad, in the countries of origin.
If a country of origin refuses to take back people who are due to be deported, as is currently the case in Russia, or even refuses to issue new documents for deportation, as many countries do, including Iran and many African countries, then deportation is not possible. And that is why we have so many people who simply cannot be deported.
An example is Russia, which has been blocking deportations from Germany since the beginning of the war against Ukraine.
Previously, it was relatively easy to deport people to Russia, but since then it has become practically impossible, except in isolated cases. And the procedure of travelling via third countries is, of course, very costly. It's not possible on a big scale.
But it is in the case of serious repeat offenders like Sawa Mamakayev, who is due to be deported via Georgia in 2 days. The judge decides, however, against detention pending deportation. She says his children cannot be expected to be separated from Mamakayev for the next 2 days and that there's no risk of him fleeing.
It's very annoying. We were pleased to get him today. Now he's basically free again.
He then goes into hiding. In the following weeks, the federal police detain him twice in Berlin, where they find cocaine in his possession. They seize his phone and wallet, intending to transfer him to Brandenburg State Police, but they don't take him. Jens Dorschmann is only informed later and plans to continue the deportation, but first, he needs to arrest him again. He comes up with a new plan to locate him.
So this is empty, but there are also letters, cell phones.
He'll want them back.
I'm assuming so.
His plan? To give the things to Mamakayev's mother, who lives in this asylum seeker's accommodation. The idea is that she should unsuspectingly lead them to her son.
Hello, my name is Dorschmann. I'm delivering some things. We have various things here for your son. You can visit your son in Berlin, Frankfurt an der Oder. Okay, take them to your son today. Good, then we've sorted that. Yes?
Hello, Mr. Dorschmann.
Doreen Rasper is already observing the apartment where Zawa Mamakayev's family lives. Her team has positioned themselves opposite in a supermarket parking lot.
I can see your car too now.
Berlin-Brandenburg Airport. This is the part of the complex where people are housed who are waiting for their deportation flights or want to leave voluntarily. Hello, good afternoon. It is not a custodial facility, but there are door controls and security personnel. Mr. Dorschmann.
Hello, Mr. Sundermeyer.
Mustafa Kurdi from Syria is staying here.
Hello, Mr. Kurdi.
The previous day, the public prosecutor's office had suspended Mr. Kurdi's remaining sentence. Jens Dorschmann picked him up from the detention center to take him to the embassy again, but found it suddenly closed. Now it is Saturday and still no Syrian travel document. He only has a German travel document for foreigners from the immigration office. Will that be enough to get him to Syria? A flight is booked for the next day. Why do you want to return? Kurdi tells a bit about his story through a translator.
والله ارجع يا انا ما عجبتني والله ما عجبتني ما عجبتني والله.
He didn't like it in Germany. and he wants to go back. He can't live here in Germany.
And how did you get to Germany? Via what route?
He crossed Turkey and the sea to Greece, and then traveled on into Germany. It cost him about 5,000 euros at the time.
To get into Germany, Mr. Kurdi had to pay the people smugglers himself. Germany will pay for his return.
Good night, Mr. Kurdi.
The flight, a translator, and travel assistance.
1,150 euros.
Is that stipulated by law?
We're allowed to pay up to 1,500 euros under the regulations.
Additional funds may be provided by the federal government. The incentive for voluntary departure can be significantly higher. It's normal to get a travel allowance, isn't it?
Yes, that's normal. I think it's fine to give someone who leaves voluntarily travel assistance. If you do the math, someone who stays here and receives social assistance costs us more in the long run.
The journey begins at 3 in the morning. It will be a complicated trip. There are still no direct flights to Syria. The situation is still considered unsafe.
We're heading to Frankfurt, where we'll try to get a flight to Beirut with the airline. And then we've gotten past that hurdle, which will be difficult with these documents. It would have been easier if we'd received the Syrian travel document on Thursday. Let's hope that he can enter Beirut without being sent back. Okay, everyone, let's go.
It's a 6-hour drive to Frankfurt Airport under normal conditions. But the first flights have already been cancelled today due to the weather. This is the second attempt to take Mustafa Kurdi back to Syria. He already tried to leave 5 years ago.
That failed because he wanted to leave via Turkey and they wouldn't let him in and sent him back.
Pressure is mounting to carry out deportations to Syria. The dictatorship is over. In Germany, migration policy is the #1 topic of debate. Will it be possible to get Mustafa Kurdi to Syria under these circumstances? Waiting at the Lebanese airline counter. There, the German authorities' documents are being checked.
Oh no.
Was that it?
That's it.
What's wrong?
Not with this document.
That's annoying.
He wants to return to Syria voluntarily, but cannot get out of Germany. An individual with a high criminal record from Chechnya has been free for weeks after local authorities failed to coordinate with each other. Today, this is expected to change.
Well, how's it going over there? Yes, but there's been some movement here. Ms. Rasper said she saw someone going in who could fit the description. Yes, it's him. Good afternoon, we know each other. Do you have a lot of stuff in there? Okay, we'll let you pay for them. Baby food? Yes, it's baby food.
What's going on?
Well, deportation still. You still have to leave the country.
I thought I had to go to the immigration office on Thursday.
We're doing it today. Get in. Your actions have serious legal consequences. If you had followed the law, this situation might not have happened. Yes, you have a family, but you are not behaving sensibly. No, you are not going back to your wife, okay? Please get out of the car, Mr. Mamakayev.
The next deportation flight via Georgia to Russia is not scheduled for another 2 months. Saur Mamakayev is scheduled to be on it.
Hello. Your husband has been arrested. Wait, what do you want to do now? Talk to him?
Papa? Deportation, бог. Демон, вот здесь давай семья.
I promise you, you will get a chance to see your wife and children again. You'll see your dad again too. Okay? Now you better go. We're leaving, so it's better.
This is actually a very special case where I say to myself, yes, of course I do feel sorry for the children, but this person has committed some serious crimes. So I'm glad that this person is being deported, even if it means he won't see his children for a while.
Back at the Syrian embassy, Mustafa Kurdi arrives without handcuffs. And he receives his departure document. Can you ask him if he's happy?
Yes, thank God.
A week later, and it's time to leave. This is the plane that will take you to Beirut, and then on to Aleppo. How are you feeling?
Very good. He feels he's getting a fresh start. His family told him, come back. Come back if you're just having problems in Germany. He's just noticed the plane. It's his first ever flight.
His first time on a plane?
Yes.
Shortly before touchdown in Beirut. Mustafa Kurdi has to immediately continue his journey to Syria without spending the night in Lebanon, out of fear that he'll no longer be there in the morning. It's a 3-hour taxi ride to the Syrian border.
He says, as soon as I cross the border, I'm safe. I know what I can do. That is, he'll no longer be dependent.
At the border, Mustafa Kurdi receives his money. He wants to buy a cell phone. He changes the first 100 euros into Syrian currency. Then he says goodbye and sets off for Aleppo. Sauer Mamakayev is taken to the Berlin-Brandenburg airport in a police prison van. His flight leaves in 3 hours. He's been in custody for 2 months for aggravated theft. He was also granted an 8-month reduction in his sentence. I'm now allowed to speak with him. That's Mr. Mamakayev. Is he going straight back to Grozny?
I don't know where to go. I have no idea. My family is here. My mother is here. My wife and children are too.
From the terminal, I watch Sauer Mamakayev being escorted to the plane by federal police officers and a Georgian security guard.
Here we can confirm that this is a scheduled flight accompanied by Georgian security forces. They are responsible for him during the flight.
I try to talk to one of the Georgian escorts. No comment. Filming is also strictly forbidden. Sauer Mamakayev says he's afraid of Russia, afraid of being forced to go to war.
I used to be in an Oman special police unit, so I don't stand a chance. When I arrive in Russia, I'll be immediately drafted into the war against Ukraine. I won't have a choice.
The plane to Moscow is already waiting. The cost of his deportation? 25,000 euros, not including the enormous personnel costs incurred by the authorities and German police. Each of his Georgian escorts costs 3,900 euros. And those are just the financial costs, not to mention the personal and logistical strain on Mamakayev and the German authorities.
It's part of my job to ensure that deportations, particularly those with criminal convictions, are carried out when necessary.
It's an enormous amount of work. That's why you can't do it around the clock or with every case. We only do it when we have a keen interest in someone leaving.
We try very hard. We don't do impossible.
Impossible gibt's nicht für uns.